In October 2003, Yang Liwei orbits Earth alone aboard Shenzhou 5. In the silence, he hears it, a knock against the hull, like metal struck with a hammer. No alarm triggers, no source found, and no confirmed explanation ever followed. Something happens to you in space, and what Yang Liwei heard was only the beginning. Yang Liwei spent 21 hours alone in orbit, circling the planet inside a capsule smaller than a compact car. In the darkness far above the clouds, he heard a sound that should not exist. He described it later with a precision that leaves little room for exaggeration, saying it sounded as if someone was knocking the body of the spaceship with a wooden hammer, like striking an iron bucket. The knocking came without warning, sharp and distinct, echoing through the hull. There were no alarms. No sensors registered any impact. Instruments showed nothing out of the ordinary. Yet the sound persisted, repeating itself more than once, as if someone or something was just outside the thin metal skin. Yang checked every system he could. He looked through the porthole, searching for any sign of movement, any clue. Nothing. The capsule's pressure held steady. The temperature inside remained normal. He listened, tense and alert, but the knocking faded as mysteriously as it had begun. Years later, in interviews, he would say he tried to reproduce the sound on the ground, striking the hull at different angles, but it never matched what he heard in orbit. There was no recording, only his word and the memory of that impossible noise. Other Chinese astronauts would later report similar knocks on later Shenzhou flights. The agency reassured them it was nothing to fear. But in that moment, Yang Liwei was utterly alone, facing a phenomenon that no training could explain. Its source remains uncertain. In space, even the smallest anomaly can unravel the boundary between certainty and doubt. A spacecraft in orbit is a machine under constant stress, an engineered shell caught between extremes of heat and cold, silence and vibration. The hull of the Shenzhou capsule, like most crewed vehicles, is built from aluminum alloys. Each time the capsule swings from sunlight to shadow, the metal contracts and expands by fractions of a millimeter. These shifts are invisible but not always silent. When a panel flexes, the energy sometimes releases as a sharp metallic knock that travels through the structure and into the pressurized cabin. The sound can be as brief as a valve click, less than 10 milliseconds, yet distinct enough to startle even the most seasoned crew. Temperature differentials build up strain along the hull, and when a threshold is crossed, the stored energy escapes as an acoustic pulse. This isn't a gradual creak or groan, but a sudden hammer-like bang. Valves opening or closing in the life support system add their own signature. A crisp, percussive clack that reverberates through metal brackets and seams. Such events are common enough that engineers can model their timing and frequency, but inside the cabin, the effect is never routine. The hull acts as a waveguide, carrying vibrations from one end of the capsule to the other, making it nearly impossible to pinpoint the source. Acoustic conduction through solid metal, not air, is what allows these noises to reach the crew. Even with all systems nominal, a single knock can feel out of place, a reminder that despite every calculation, the line between expected and inexplicable remains thin. The technical answers are plausible, grounded in physics and material science. Yet for those alone in orbit, the explanations do not always bring comfort. The sound is real, the mechanism likely, but the sense of uncertainty lingers. The story does not close itself. The Apollo 10 crew drifted behind the moon on May 22, 1969, cut off from Houston by a wall of rock and silence. Inside the command module, Thomas Stafford, John Young, and Eugene Cernan floated in a cocoon of switches and static. Then a sound crept in, a high whistling tone, faint but persistent. The men paused, listening.
space music.
His voice caught on the tape, now cataloged as AT-10001. The others agreed, trading uneasy jokes about space music echoing through the cabin. For 2 minutes, the strange audio filled their headsets, hovering at the edge of hearing. NASA's official transcript records the moment. Later, engineers traced the sound to radio frequency interference caused by the interplay of the lunar module's VHF radios and the plasma wake behind the moon. The technical explanation is solid: electromagnetic signals bleeding into the audio channel, a known effect when spacecraft antennas share frequencies in a charged environment. Yet, in the moment, the crew had no such answer. The recording survives, public domain, a thin, eerie whine that still unsettles. The line between mechanical artifact and uncanny experience blurs, preserved on tape for anyone to hear. Rumors about Apollo 11 have circulated for decades. Stories of missing audio, strange hissing on the moon, or mysterious shapes glimpsed just beyond the landing site. These claims often appear in books, documentaries, and online forums, each suggesting that something important was kept from the public. Yet the full Apollo 11 mission transcript, covering every moment from launch to splashdown on July 20th, 1969, is publicly available. Every word spoken between Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, Michael Collins, and Mission Control has been cataloged and released. There are no unexplained gaps, no redacted exchanges, and no evidence of missing tape. NASA's audio archives hold every recorded channel from the mission. Engineers and historians have combed through hundreds of hours of surface and orbital communication. Routine equipment sounds such as fans, pumps, and static are all present, but nothing resembling the rumored anomalies appears. In post-mission interviews, neither Armstrong nor Aldrin ever described hearing or seeing anything out of the ordinary on the lunar surface. The supposed L-shaped object and tales of secret transmissions trace back to secondhand sources and speculative articles, not the primary record. The absence of evidence is not a mystery to solve, but a reminder of how easily stories can take root when the original material is overlooked. In the world of spaceflight, disciplined skepticism is as important as imagination. Some anomalies are real, captured in the record. Others exist only in the shadows cast by incomplete information. Franklin Story Musgrave, veteran of 6 shuttle missions, once reported seeing something out the window that defied easy explanation. He described an elongated white object, 6 to 8 feet long, twisting slowly in the void, and he said it had its own life in a 1990 NASA oral history. Alone, he watched it drift by, uncertain if it was alive, a trick of light, or just debris. No cameras captured it, and no one else on the crew saw what he saw. Later, engineers suggested a strip of insulation or mylar, maybe a piece of orbital debris set spinning by the shuttle's wake. In microgravity, even tape can seem to move with purpose. Sunlight glancing off its surface turns the ordinary into something luminous and strange. Judging distance or speed through a shuttle window is nearly impossible. Parallax collapses and reflections multiply. Musgrave, both physician and engineer, never claimed certainty. The visual world in orbit is unpredictable. Objects shift, light bends, and the mind struggles to keep up. Astronauts have described flashes of light behind their eyelids, quick, silent bursts that appear even in complete darkness. These flashes, sometimes streaks or pinpricks, can occur with eyes open or closed. The cause is not a trick of vision, but the passage of high-energy cosmic rays through the retina. On Skylab, Apollo, and ISS missions, crews reported these events with surprising regularity, sometimes dozens of times each hour during periods of high solar activity. The sensation is unmistakable, a photonless spark triggered by a particle moving at nearly the speed of light, bypassing every normal sensory pathway. There is no warning, No external stimulus, only the body's own tissues under fire. Space adaptation syndrome unfolds more slowly. Within the first hours of weightlessness, nearly 3/4 of astronauts develop nausea, dizziness, and cold sweats, symptoms triggered by the inner ear's otolith organs losing their sense of up and down. The signals from the vestibular system become scrambled, and the brain struggles to reconcile motion with the absence of gravity. For some, the discomfort fades after a day. For others, it lingers, making routine tasks feel unfamiliar and precarious. The body, designed for Earth, finds itself adrift, with senses that can no longer be trusted. As one flight surgeon notes, the environment is stable. It is the perception that becomes unpredictable. Looking down on Earth from orbit, astronauts often describe a moment when their sense of meaning slips its old boundaries. The world becomes a single fragile sphere. No borders, no divisions, just a thin blue line against endless black. In interviews, some speak of a sudden, overwhelming feeling of connection, as if every living thing is part of one system. Others describe a sense of detachment so deep it unsettles their sense of self. This shift, known as the overview effect, is not a passing emotion. It rewires how astronauts interpret everything they see and hear. Routine sounds, familiar equipment, even the sight of their own hands can begin to feel foreign, stripped of context. A cognitive psychologist studying astronaut accounts notes that the brain, starved of normal cues, starts to question the meaning of every stimulus. What was once certain becomes ambiguous. The mind, designed for gravity and noise, now drifts in a place where up and down lose meaning, and where the line between perception and reality grows thin. Each layer, mechanical, sensory, cognitive, folds into the next, until the most unsettling question is not what happened outside the spacecraft, but what happened inside the mind. In the silence of orbit, even trained minds find their senses unsettled. As private spaceflight grows, more people will confront these quiet fractures in perception. The real unknown isn't out there. It's what happens when reality itself slips and we realize our brains are not built for the void.